My name is Jamie. I'm 32. Tonight is my daughter's birthday dinner. The restaurant hums with quiet forks and faint music. My parents sit opposite me, their plates already half cleared. My father folds his napkin, eyes fixed on the bill I've just placed on the table. Your child means nothing to us, he says. The words land like glass dropped in slow motion. A waiter freezes beside the breadbasket, pretending not to hear. Ava's name is printed on the small cake box between us. The candle leans slightly, still unlit. I keep my hand on the table, palm flat, steady. My mother's bracelet clicks as she reaches for her purse. She doesn't look at me. We didn't ask for your charity, she adds. The envelope beside my plate holds the week's payment, 7 crisp hundreds, folded once, sealed in beige paper. I can see the ink bleeding faintly through. Paid. Habit. The air feels heavy. A pause stretching too long. My brother, Ryan, sits to my left. His fork lowers slowly. Eyes on the envelope. He doesn't speak. A thin reflection of the ceiling light slices across the glass between us. No one moves. The waiter exhales quietly and steps back. I take the envelope, turn it once, then slide it toward my father. His fingers hover, but don't touch. His jaw tightens. Keep it, I say. My voice is even. He laughs once. Short and sharp. The sound of old metal. My mother lifts her glass. Her lipstick leaves a mark like a fingerprint. Ryan looks at me again. He knows this is different. He knows this silence isn't surrender. My hand stays still beside the plate. My breathing even. The room's air conditioner hums, faint and constant. The candle wavers in the draft. No one mentions Ava again. My fingers stay against the linen. I don't blink. The light above the table hums softly, flickering at the edge of vision. I hear every sound, the scrape of a fork, the waiter refilling a glass 2 tables away, the faint buzz of the ceiling vent. My father waits for me to speak. I don't. The silence stretches until it becomes shape. A wall between us. The envelope sits where I left it. I can feel his eyes measuring the space it creates. My mother adjusts her scarf, pretending not to see the tremor in her own hands. Ryan leans back, arms crossed, gaze steady. No words, only awareness. He sees it too, the shift. Invisible, but final. Inside, everything slows. My heartbeat steadies into rhythm with the air conditioner. My jaw loosens. I reach for my glass, take one sip, then set it down. The condensation leaves a small ring on the tablecloth, perfect and pale. That's all the mark I'll leave tonight. I let the waiter clear the cake untouched. When I stand, the chair's legs drag quietly against the tile. My mother's bracelet slides down her wrist with a dull clink. My father's laugh doesn't come this time. I adjust my coat, smooth the sleeve. Enjoy the evening, I say. My tone matches the temperature of the room. As I walk past the glass door, the reflection catches all of us in one frame, him still, her frozen mid-breath, Ryan watching. The door closes without sound. Outside, the air is colder, cleaner. I breathe once, slow and level. I knew something ended in that silence. Maybe it was obligation, maybe fear. Either way, the air felt lighter. But before I tell you how I got here, you need to know where it began. It didn't start at that dinner. It never did. It began in rooms with quiet light and long tables. Our house kept a silver clock. It ticked through every meal. I sat at the edge chair, closest to the hallway. Ryan sat center. My father asked about his grades, his teams, his plans. While my plate cooled untouched, the chair pressed a line into my thigh as if measuring how long I could stay still, and my mother passed him the best cut without looking up. The pattern held. He spoke. They brightened. I spoke. The silver clock grew louder. "Let your brother finish," my father said once. My hand tightened around the fork. It was small things. Invitations addressed to one name. Photos framed with one face forward. I signed the cards they wrote. I wrapped the gifts they chose. Holidays ended with Ryan's stories and my dishes stacked in the sink. And the hallway mirror caught my shoulder leaving the room as if the glass preferred the center of the picture to stay clear. At dinner, the table became a map. My mother placed praise like place settings. My father carved attention into neat slices. I filled the water glasses. There was a night the neighbors came. The roast sat heavy in the middle. Laughter was easy, and the good plates made their rare appearance. I mentioned a promotion. My father nodded without interest. Ryan might apply for grad school, he said. The neighbors turned to him. The clock clicked once. Precise. And the steam lifted from my plate like a cue to be quiet, while the hallway swallowed the sound of my chair when I stood to fetch more bread. We ate by habit. We spoke by permission. My place was the edge. I learned the rules without instruction. Keep answers short. Make tasks vanish. Give up the best chair when guests arrived. Set the forks straight and wait for the jokes to pass. The photograph wall changed around me each year, and I kept noticing my face in group shots at the margin, while the central frames carried speeches, medals, and the same practice smiles that always faced the front of the room. One Thanksgiving, my mother tapped her glass for silence. "Say grace, Ryan," she said. I had already folded my hands. No one looked my way. The hallway, the chair, the clock, the plates, those were the constants. I moved around them the way steam moved around a lid. Not trapped, just contained. The tablecloth remained white, and my napkin kept its clean triangle. And when the stories circled back again, the fork was light in my hand and the clock was on time. The first betrayal wasn't loud. It came on my graduation day. Ryan's college acceptance letter had arrived the same morning. My father pinned it to the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like a trophy. When I entered the kitchen, holding my own envelope, they were already toasting his news with orange juice and the good glasses. My mother smiled at me and said, "You can open it later. We're celebrating your brother." I stood by the counter, fingers pressed against the paper. The ink on my name bled slightly where my thumb rested. Ryan laughed, his voice filling the room like a closing door. I slipped my letter back into the sleeve and poured more juice into their glasses. No one asked again. The folded page stayed in the drawer beside the phone for years. After that, silence became its own task. At family dinners, I spoke when spoken to, a voice between utensils. My mother would correct small details, how I held the knife, how I phrased a sentence, each correction soft, practiced, permanent. Once, at Christmas, she handed me a photo frame. Inside was a picture of Ryan with their old dog. "We'll add you when we get another print," she said. I stopped expecting space. I learned to fill the pauses with small movements, pouring, clearing, nodding. The table became predictable. Each sound familiar. The scrape of cutlery, the drip from the faucet, the rhythm of their comfort. Words only broke things. Quiet kept the air even. When I grew older, my voice still measured itself against that clock. I didn't argue, didn't ask. They called it maturity. I called it staying invisible long enough to leave the room untouched. They got comfortable with my silence. They thought it meant obedience. They still gather once a month. Same table, same clock. The roast always dry. My mother still folds her napkin twice before eating. My father still counts the wine glasses out loud. Ryan still sits in the middle seat. I still take the one by the edge. They talk about promotions, mortgages, who bought what. My mother gestures with the carving knife. "Jamie's job is steady," she says, "but nothing compared to Ryan's new position." She says it. She says it again. She says it once more. The knife shines each time. Steady under the light. Laughter drifts across the table like steam. The waiter refills glasses. I hear the scrape of chair legs against the tile. My father looks at me, half smiling. You're still renting, right? You should think long term. He points at the check resting near my elbow. Or, just buy them dinner instead. It's what you do best. The others laugh. Forks hit plates. A sound like small coins falling. The envelope is already in my bag, cash for their mortgage. The automatic payment that never ends. I place it on the table without comment. My hand doesn't shake. Ryan reaches for it. Brows raised. Still helping out? He asks. My father answers for me. She likes to feel useful. A quiet snicker follows. The silver clock clicks. Guests pretend not to see. The waiter glances once, then folds the bill with careful fingers. My mother's bracelets chime as she lifts her glass. Family helps family, she says, though some of us more than others. The table laughs again. The sound doesn't reach me. I sip water. It tastes metallic. My reflection moves faintly in the glass. Smaller each time I blink. Their words repeat like background noise, useful, rent, steady. The pattern is precise. A practiced performance of hierarchy. The roast cools. The clock ticks. The envelope stays untouched between us. The waiter brings dessert. 3 plates for 4 people. My mother slides the spare toward Ryan. He'll eat it later, she says. No one argues. I watch the spoon marks left behind. A pale swirl of sugar against white porcelain. The room hums with easy talk, work, gossip. Neighbor news. Plans for next Sunday. None include me. Ryan mentions the new car I helped him finance last year. My father lifts his brows. She likes doing those things. Makes her feel generous. The word lands flat. The others nod. Eyes politely turned elsewhere. The same choreography every time. I hear the faint crack of ice melting in my glass. The waiter sets the check between us. My father taps it with his finger, a gesture rehearsed through years. Jamie's got it, he says. She always does. I wait. No one corrects him. The waiter hesitates, then places the pen beside me. Ryan stares at the tablecloth. My mother folds her napkin again, edges aligned. I take the pen. Write my name. Each letter exact. The total blurs for a second, then clears. My hand leaves a small damp mark on the receipt where the glass once stood. Across from me. My father reaches for his coat. You shouldn't mind, he says. You make more than you need. The line they crossed wasn't the money. It was the permission they gave themselves to turn generosity into proof of control. My mother leans close enough that I feel her perfume settle on my sleeve. Don't make it awkward, she whispers. Her tone is sweet, final, practiced. The chairs scrape as they rise. Ryan lingers, eyes flicking between the envelope, the signed bill, my still hands. The waiter clears the plates. The sound is small but sharp. My father pats my shoulder light, habitual, like brushing dust. I stay seated. The table empties. The air thickens. The lights dim. Their voices drift toward the exit, muffled by distance. I look at the clock above the bar. Same silver hands. Same tick. Something in me moves once, then stops completely. I stopped listening. The morning after dinner looked the same. The coffee maker clicked on. The refrigerator hummed. The kitchen light held its pale circle over the counter. I poured water into the cup I always used, the one with the faint crack along the rim. Ava's drawings still hung by magnets, edges curling slightly from the heat vent below. Routine stayed steady. It always did. I folded the napkins, sorted the mail, loaded the dishwasher. My phone buzzed once my mother's name across the screen. I didn't open it. The sound faded, absorbed by the hum of the refrigerator. I wiped the counter again. Even though it was clean, the envelope from the restaurant lay by the sink. Damp edges, faint ink smudge. Total, written in blue. I looked at it, then moved it beneath a stack of papers. My hand didn't hesitate. The small motion felt deliberate, measured. The crack didn't happen loudly. It slipped in through stillness. My heartbeat slowed, matching the rhythm of the ticking wall clock. The air held a dry chill. The scent of coffee lingered. Something in me went quiet for good. I stood by the window, curtains half drawn. Across the street, the livery truck idled, brake lights red against the gray morning. The world continued, ordinary and unbothered. I watched condensation trail down the glass and disappear. The house felt lighter, though nothing had changed. Ava stirred in her room, sheets rustling softly. I turned the stove knob off, though I hadn't cooked. I opened the cabinet above the sink and took down the mug my father once gave me, the one with a chipped handle and fading logo. I set it gently into the trash bag. No sound, just weight. The quiet wasn't empty now. It was structured, balanced, exact. Every movement obeyed a new center of gravity. The clock hands aligned. I could almost hear the faint electric buzz in the hallway light. Steady, persistent, loyal to its task. I breathed once. Then again, the air filled evenly. My shoulders lowered. Fingers relaxed around the edge of the counter. Outside, the truck pulled away, the sound dissolving into distance. I looked at the closed door and didn't move toward it. The door would stay that way for a while. By noon, the house was silent except for the low hum of the vent. I sat at the table. Same chair as always, fingers tracing the faint groove along its edge. Light fell across the wood in thin stripes from the half-closed blinds. Dust floated slowly through it. Unbothered, I opened the drawer beside me. Bills, receipts, and one folded page, my father's handwriting across the top corner. Payment due Monday. The ink had faded, the edge worn soft from handling. I unfolded it once, then again, then pressed it flat. The paper didn't tremble. I folded it back and slid it beneath the drawer lining. That was its last appearance. The coffee machine clicked off. The silence deepened, clear as glass. I took my phone from the counter, scrolled through names, stopped at one. The message I typed was short, factual, nothing emotional. A date, a time, a number. Then I deleted it before sending, just to see how easy it was to erase something that once felt necessary. The hallway clock marked another minute. Ava's voice drifted faintly from her room, singing to her toys. A sound untouched by any of this. I gathered the envelopes on the counter, stacked them neatly, tied them with a rubber band, and placed them in a plain folder. The motion was clean, practiced, quiet. I stood for a long time beside the window. Outside, the light had shifted, soft and low, a pale gold brushing against the blinds. A car passed, tires whispering across wet pavement. I thought of all the Mondays that had come and gone. The rhythm I had served without question. The rhythm ended here. I turned off the kitchen light, leaving the faint glow from the hallway to trace the edges of the room. The refrigerator's hum carried on, a sound both constant and irrelevant now. I looked at the locked front door once more. Enough, I whispered. I picked up the folder and placed it inside my bag. The chair stayed where it was, half turned toward the window. A witness, frozen in the pale light. I walked down the hall without looking back. They still believed silence meant surrender. They were wrong. The air inside the community hall is still. White walls, long tables, folded chairs lined in rows. The afternoon sun cuts through high windows. Cold and exact, a microphone rests unused at the center podium. Paper programs stack neatly on each seat. They invited everyone. Family, neighbors, a few from church. Ryan stands near the back. My parents sit front row, side by side, faces calm, postures practiced. Their kind of calm always meant control. Mine doesn't. I walk in quietly. My shoes make no sound against the floor. Heads turn. Not quickly. Just a slow acknowledgement that someone unexpected entered. I nod once. Move toward the front. Stop 3 feet from the podium. The light falls directly across my face. Sharp and even. My mother adjusts her scarf. My father whispers something to the man beside him. The hum of a ceiling vent fills the pause. A pen rolls from the registration desk. Stops against my shoe. No one picks it up. Ryan steps forward slightly. The only one who doesn't avoid looking at me. The sound of paper turning echoes faintly. Someone flipping through the printed program. I see the heading Family Fundraiser for Renewal Project. The same title they'd posted online. Donations listed under their names. I take the folder from my bag. Plain, dark gray. No emblem. My movements are measured. 2 short steps. The sound of the latch clicking open carries farther than it should. I place the papers on the table beside the microphone. The edges align perfectly with the table's grain. My mother clears her throat. "Jamie," she says softly, rehearsed concern in her voice. "You didn't have to come. This is just a small event." I don't answer. I tap the top page once, then slide it forward. The rustle is crisp. Final? My father leans in, eyes narrowing. His mouth opens slightly. The microphone picks up the faint scrape of his sleeve against the fabric. "It's the transfer statement," Ryan says quietly from behind them. His tone is even. Not surprised. She's not donating. She's confirming. The room stills. Even the ceiling fan slows its rhythm. The word confirming lingers. My father reaches for the paper. His ring catches the light bright silver against dull skin. I don't stop him. He reads the first line. His lips move once. Then, stop. The deed already has my name. Someone inhales sharply. The sound breaks the room. The air changes. People glance at one another, waiting for someone to speak. My mother's hand trembles near her lap, fingers brushing against the edge of her purse. My father doesn't look up. The light across his face bleaches every expression into stillness. A woman in the second row whispers. She owns it. The whisper ripples. Then dies. Chairs creak. Slow. Unsure. Ryan remains motionless. His jaw sets. My father's voice finally surfaces. Low, stripped of command. "What is this?" he asks. I don't reply. The answer lies in black ink, notarized. Signed 2 weeks ago. The white light from the window sharpens. Dust moves like snow in its path. I close the folder, slide it back into my bag, and button the clasp. No one breathes loudly. The sound of my zipper echoes through the hall like a string being cut. The silence stretches. The clock near the door ticks once, loud and slow. My father lowers the paper, his eyes tracing the signature again, as if repetition could undo it. My mother shifts in her seat, the scarf sliding off her shoulder. The sound of its fabric against her blouse is the only thing moving. Ryan steps forward, places his hand lightly on the table. He doesn't speak to me, but his presence fills the gap where my voice should be. My father clears his throat. A dry dudama. Hollow sound. "You transferred it." His tone falters. Not disbelief, just the absence of authority. I nod once. That's all. The motion lands like a sentence. Around us, the air thins. The community organizer near the back adjusts her glasses, trying not to stare. The papers remain on the table, the top page perfectly squared, the ink gleaming under the overhead light. The house wasn't theirs anymore. The microphone catches the faint rustle of someone standing. A woman whispers something, maybe a prayer, maybe disbelief. I hear chairs shift, the squeak of metal legs dragging softly against the tile. The sound builds, then dies again. My mother leans toward my father. "Say something," she whispers, too close to the mic. Her words echo faintly through the speakers, unfiltered. It's the first time I've ever seen him without a reply ready. His mouth opens, then closes again. The papers stay between us, unmoved. Light pours through the window, bleaching the room to near white. It glints off the silver frame of the podium, the edge of Ryan's watch, the fold of my sleeve. No one moves to touch the documents. The truth sits plainly under the glass cover, printed and verified. I let the silence breathe. The quiet feels absolute, a structure of its own. I close the pen that signed their history away and set it beside the folder. It clicks softly final, contained. A man from the board clears his throat, glances between us. So, he begins. The property. It's settled. His voice trails off when I meet his eyes. He looks down. Ryan's shoulders drop, something like relief beneath the tension. My parents remain still. I can see my reflection in my father's glasses, small, sharp, standing straight. I lift the folder, place it in my bag, and button it shut. The sound echoes in the stillness. My mother's fingers tap once on her purse strap, searching for control that no longer exists. I step back from the podium. The floor creaks under my heel. Every head turns slightly, following without meaning to. No one speaks. The moment stretches like glass thin, unbreakable, transparent. At the door, the light shifts across my face. Clean and even. I pause long enough for the clock to tick again. No one spoke after that. No one moves. The papers remain on the table, their edges catching the light. The clock ticks once, steady, unbothered. My father's chair is still pushed back, the sound of its scrape already forgotten. My mother's hand hovers above her purse. Her nails touch the leather, then stop. She doesn't look at me. Ryan stands near the window, head slightly lowered. The air feels heavy but clean, like the moment after rain. The audience begins to stir. A cough, a whisper, the shuffle of shoes against tile. Someone folds their chair slowly. Metal legs, groaning. A man clears his throat near the back, but no one answers. The light has shifted warmer, the white glare fading to beige. My parents rise together, then apart. My father gathers his coat without urgency. My mother fumbles for her scarf. Neither speaks. Their reflections move faintly across the glass door, blurred by sunlight. When they walk past me, the scent of her perfume drifts and disappears. The door closes behind them with a soft click. I stand still, one hand resting on the table's corner. The wood is cool under my palm. The papers no longer matter. The sound in the room fades until it becomes texture, the faint hum of electricity, the soft turn of fabric. Breathing. Ryan is the last to move. He meets my eyes once. Brief. Neutral. Then he nods. Small. Enough. The space between us feels simple now, defined by absence. He leaves through the side door, his footsteps muted by the carpet. I remain. The air tastes like dust and light. The silver pen lies where I left it, parallel to the folder line. I pick it up, drop it gently into my bag, zip it closed. The zipper's teeth interlock with a sound that feels exact. The chairs stand crooked now, some half-folded, others askew. A beam of light cuts across the floor, dust floating within it. Each particle turning once before fading, the silence grows whole again. I walk to the door. My steps echo once, twice. I pause at the threshold, the scent of the hallway, old varnish and paper filling the air. My hand touches the frame. Cool. Steady. I push the door open. Slow. Outside. Light expands quietly across the concrete. The air outside is soft, almost still. Warm light slides across the parking lot, catching the edge of a car mirror. A glint of fading gold. The door closes behind me with a muted click, sealing off the voices, the chairs, the fluorescent hum. I stand there a moment. The sound of my breathing folds into the quiet. Wind moves across the pavement in a single, low sweep, carrying the faint scent of cut grass and rain left from the morning. The sun rests low, pale against the building's windows. My shoes make no sound on the concrete. Each step feels measured, lighter than before, as if the weight I used to hold had lost shape. A leaf rolls across the ground, stops at the curb, and stays. The air feels wide. I reach my car, the metal warm beneath my palm. Inside, the steering wheel reflects the sky pale, endless, calm. I don't turn the key yet. The silence stretches, not heavy, just complete. I look toward the hall one last time, the door now half in shadow. Through the glass, faint shapes move my mother's coat, Ryan's shoulder, the faint reflection of light on the wall. I don't stay long enough to see them leave. I roll down the window halfway. The air drifts in, dry and even. Somewhere nearby, a flag snaps once in the wind and falls still again. The world sounds ordinary. I let it. A small piece of paper rests on the passenger seat. Corner folded, one of the programs from the event. I smooth it flat, then place it in the glove box without reading. The latch clicks quietly. The light outside softens to beige. The edge of the sky fades to white. I close my eyes once, just breathing. Then, I start the engine. The sound is low, steady, unhurried. I back out of the space and drive toward the open road. The building shrinks in the mirror until it becomes a pale block of color. Peace doesn't need witnesses. The wind moved through the open road, steady and thin. Behind me, the light faded on glass and names. I didn't look back. The silence stayed.